My name's Nadia. I'm here with Asif Uddin, who is the representative of the Anis Sarda campaign. Thank you for joining me today. My first question is, who is Anis Sarda and why was he convicted in the UK?
So Anis Sardar is an individual who was brought up in the UK, and he went to Syria in the mid-90s in order to study Arabic, and he was there for around 10 years. So this is a very different Syria to it as it is today. It's a very safe Syria. This is the pre-genocide that's taking place currently. And what happened is that in late 2006, he befriended an individual from Iraq who was one of the influx of migrants who came from as a result of the oppression that was taking place in Iraq with the ruling militia. And he befriended him, and his friend Abu Muhammad wanted to take his parents who were in Iraq to a safer Syria because of the problems that we're facing there. So he went on a truck full of medical equipment. He went and helped Abu Muhammad. He helped some of the wounded in his local village, and he did a great service for the locals in the particular village that they were in. And on one occasion, on one afternoon, he was left by Abu Muhammad and some of the individuals in that apartment or in that house. They were putting some things together, and he asked, what are you guys doing? He said that we are facing a lot of oppression, a lot of aggression from the neighbouring village because they're from the ruling militia. Some of our families are being abducted and being killed. So our last resort is just make these IEDs, these improvised devices. And so what happened is that he was asked to take one of them, and then because of the problems that he was going through and the things that he had witnessed in Iraq, he decided to go back to Syria, but he found it too difficult to finish off his final year at university there, and decided to go back to the UK for some normalcy. So then 2014 he was raided, and they found that his fingerprints were on a tape on one of those IEDs, because what happened in 2007 is that one of the military vehicles, American military vehicles, had gone on one of these these IEDs, and as a result, one of the American soldiers was killed, Randy Johnson. Except the very interesting thing about this case is that his fingerprint wasn't on that IED, and the IED that it didn't actually go off at all. So they were looking for someone to blame, and as a result, he got a very heavy sentence of 38 years.
Can you comment with regards to the prejudice that is evident in the British justice system towards Muslims?
Sure. So it's quite clear the discrimination that Muslims are facing. I mean, if we were to use Anis as an example, if we were to simply just change Anis's name and change the colour of his skin, change his creed, and would he have got 38 years? It's highly unlikely he would have got 38 years. Let's just say that he was fighting, although he wasn't fighting. Let's just say that there was an individual who was fighting against, like a abhorrent group such as ISIS, a British non-white, non-Muslim fighting against ISIS as an example. And there was some kind of friendly fire, or someone died as a result from the Allied coalition. Would they have got 38 years? Highly, highly unlikely.
And also, Sarda was detained at Belmarsh High Security Prison for some time, being moved recently. Can you speak about the conditions of his incarceration?
Sure. So the Belmarsh, it doesn't seem to be one of the best places to be incarcerated in, and Anis. It was a little bit difficult, of course, naturally, for him to adjust, and the conditions weren't as great as he was. There's a difference between what you read in the papers and what you read in books, and actually witnessing and seeing what's actually going on there. And Anis his conditions are not the best. I mean, he just to take one example, because one thing that I know about Anis is that he loves his food. And so he said that even the guards would say that they wouldn't even feed this food to their dogs. That's how terrible the conditions are in terms of the food. He's being treated okay, but I mean things definitely could be much better.
Is he able to go to Jummah prayers and so on and so forth?
At the moment, yes, alhamdulillah, he's able to go to his Friday prayers. He's able to pray, but there's actually seems to be the best communication in terms of when does Eid happen and so on and so forth.
You mentioned his sentencing and it came under quite a lot of scrutiny in the public eye. Can you talk a little bit about whether there's any chance of an appeal and just basically his sentencing and how it came to that? It came to 38 years. 38
years, yeah. I mean, we were quite shocked to learn that he got 38 years. I mean, one of the reasons we felt that this was a travesty of justice is because he wasn't allowed to bring any of the witnesses to court. Because they weren't given the same level of anonymity that the prosecution witnesses were given. And so it was just basically his word against the prosecution, and we were really shocked by the 38 years. So he does have a right to, we've actually got his lawyers to file an appeal. So there's two elements of the appeal. There's actually the appeal for the conviction itself, and there's the appeal for the length of sentence. So as for the conviction itself, that won't be rescinded, unfortunately. He just lost that around 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we are in the process of lodging an appeal to reduce his hefty sentence of 38 years.
And just lastly, how can people in the UK or abroad basically get involved and assist Sardar's campaign? I know one tactic, or rather one way to show solidarity to prisoners, especially Muslim prisoners, is to write letters. But of course we have to be very careful with the content. Can you talk about other ways in which? Sure.
So other than that, I have 3 suggestions. The first one is to join the Facebook page, which is Justice for Anis, 4 being the letter. You can find out more information in terms of the updates, if there's any action plans and so on and so forth. The second thing is to assist in terms of any skills that you have. So you may have skills in terms of making documentaries, in terms of writing articles and so on and so forth, or even providing funds or money in order to fund such documentaries. That would be helpful. And the final thing is, if you're a person of prominence in the society, then perhaps you can write, a couple of sentences in support of the campaign. We already have the likes of Noam Chomsky supporting our campaign. So if there's anyone that you have who's famous or well respected, then that would go a long way.
Shaka here, is there anything else that you want to add, or do you think we covered pretty much?
Oh no, that's pretty much.
Okay, thank you very much.